Come along, children. Now we're going to have a little music.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy RB3 here for First Cut, and we're back for another review, this time for the new Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Lauren London Netflix movie, You People, directed by Kenya Barris. And I'm not doing this review alone. I'm actually here with my homeboy, Jon Marin. What's good, John?
Yo,
man. I had to, we have so much fun talking movies and stuff on set together when we're working together, at my previous job, things of that nature. So we had to come up together and start having some dialogues, especially with a film as funny and obviously getting so much as controversial conversation as You People. So I had to get your thoughts on this movie, man.
Yeah, man. We I always joke we need the darker perspective on a lot of things because we get force fed a lot in the media and it's always comes from one perspective and it's always cool. Like whenever we would rap on set, like I remember one time we was talking about Jurassic Park and we was talking about Shorty talking and jive in Jurassic Park and like how that annoyed us. And it's like that's something I wouldn't see in a review in the Variety or whatever the case may be. They kind of might just bypass that. But, we have a unique perspective as Black folks, what I'm saying, viewing any type of media, taking in any media. So it's definitely, there's value in this. So I'm honored to do this with you, bro. And you already know, I told you, I respect your opinions. I respect your craftsmanship. You're a great filmmaker, all of that. So I'm honored to be here and do this with you. And this is a long time coming, man. I've been talking film since I was like 5-6 years old, no lie. Like my mom used to always tell my teachers, I'm gonna be a film critic. You know what I'm saying? So it's good to see brothers like us do this on this platform. And you don't really see much of it. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. You have a great platform that you're building yourself called Real Talk
Film Society. So basically with that is just I think every time I do see creators that's talk film, they look a certain way, you know what I'm saying? It's just like you expect them, like, no disrespect to the Marvel heads. I love Marvel, I love Star Wars and all that stuff. But I say this respectfully, the nerds, you know what I'm saying? Like you see the guys like, Princess Leia. It's like, it's like, brothers and sisters like me, we can't, we naturally don't gravitate towards that. So I kind of wanted to create a platform that's like, me, I'm talking about the culture, especially putting a highlight on Black film. I feel like every time I see film dialogue happening, it's a certain type of person and it's this erasure, a whole lot of erasure happening. So I kind of want to kind of center Black film and show Black film as an art form. Like we got to curate and protect our films. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I tell you all the time, I say it on Twitter, House Party is not just a hood film. That is an American classic. I put it in the conversation with 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, and all those movies. Like it's an American teen. Like every teen has had a night like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's I just hate our stuff being relegated to one box. And I kind of wanted to create that platform to give a voice to that. You know what I'm saying? Also, I want to talk. I like my Marvel and Star Wars too. So, I want to talk this stuff too. But there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there that, are into that stuff and they kind of hide it. It's like, oh, this is for the nerds. So man, raise your flag, man. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like me and my boy in Brooklyn, when we talk about Star Wars, you would think it's like some street shit. Like we just kind of like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like we're talking Star Wars. Like that's how passionate we are about it. So, I just try to create that platform for that. And yeah, man, I'm just trying to create a lane for myself, man. And people call me all the time. They want to hear my thoughts on film. So boom, now I want you to go to my page. It's right there.
It's right there. It's on YouTube. It's on Instagram, Reels Talk Film Society. I'm gonna have the links in the bio, of course. And we're gonna be collaborating on a lot more stuff too. So we're about to have this conversation about You People. Like I said in the beginning, directed by Kenya Barris, starring Jonah Hill, Lauren London, Eddie Murphy. It really had an all-star comedian supporting cast too, all the way around. So just give me your initial thoughts on it, John. What did you think of You People?
Man, I went into it. It's so funny. I was on Twitter when the trailer dropped. And Kenya Barris, I don't know what it is. He get people going. People just they was like, it was what the teaser trailer was, what, 2 minutes at most, and they was just like, this is trash, and eye rolls and stuff like that. But I saw Eddie Murphy, and I am a proud Eddie Murphy stan. You know what I'm saying? I check everything that brother does, and of course, the whole interracial relationship thing, like, yeah, it's been done over and over again, but they found a cool way to tell it with the Jewish and the Muslim backgrounds and stuff like that, where the natural conflict is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And I enjoyed it, man. I had fun with it. You know what I'm saying? I went into it, very open. A little weary just because Eddie Murphy getting back out there with films. He's kind of on a roll, I guess you can say. Coming to America was okay. But Dolomite, my name is Dolomite. Dolomite is my name.
That was fine.
That was good. That was good. And I see he's being more selective with his roles now, because when he was doing the Meet Daves and 1,000 Words, all those movies was trash. And he says it himself. He's like, I just did it for the check. So I had a little confidence in it. I was like, yo, this might be okay because Eddie's behind it. And it was smooth, man. I was there's little things that bothered me. Not bothered me, but it was like just little stupid things, like, them hitting us over the head with the sneaker stuff. It was like, all right, I get it. Me, I'm a sneakerhead, so it's just like, I feel like sometimes they kind of they go heavy-handed with that to kind of exploit the culture right now. Little things like me noticing that they're on a green screen in certain scenes, is like, stuff like that. But what I loved most was the scene with the parents. I love that stuff because it came out with the bat swinging. Like, what I love most about it was that all throughout time, we're kind of, whenever we're given like, bad guys or villains in these race relation films, you always get the hillbilly, red cap, MAGA, card carrying member of the Klan racist. Like, that's the obvious trope to go down. But they went straight for the white liberal, the safe ones. You know what I'm saying? Because this we don't really talk about it much. Where white liberals, not all. Shout out to my white liberals that get it, that know their privilege and understand, what the levels of this conversation. But then you get some of them that kind of treat us like oh, I feel so sorry for you and your people. Oh,
yeah.
You know what? I would vote for Obama 3 times if I could. Get Out. That's what I loved about Get Out. They went straight for that. You know what I'm saying? And another thing I noticed in that is like seeing people respond to the film. White people specifically. They're describing the film as cringe, and one day I was listening to this one critic, and he's like, it's so cringe. I wanted to cover my face, things I was hearing. My wife asked if she had to watch the movie anymore, and I told her no, she could leave the room. But I knew I had to finish this. I had to finish this film for my review, but it was so hard to get through. And he's not saying what's bothering him. You know what I'm saying? He said that he liked the film, but that there was just these cringy parts in it that he would not disclose what bothered him. And I looked up cringe and you people, and when I seen brothers and sisters talking about cringe, they're like, yo, because I know people like that. So it was just kind of crazy to hear that. It was funny, but it's like, and that's how I felt too. Like, there was a moment, what'd she say? Julia Louis-Dreyfus, she said something to Lauren London. It was kind of like, ooh, like, but it was funny. But then there's there's other white folks that their version of cringe is, like, it made me uncomfortable. It is almost like it was like a reflection that they had to confront, and they didn't really want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So all of that stuff was interesting, man. I thought it was well written. I think the ending was a little cliche. Rom-com ending, you know what I'm saying? But it was dope. It was dope overall. I had fun with it. It's fun to watch with a group. I watch it by myself, and then I watch it with a group, and it was really fun to watch with a group. So I enjoyed the film.
Yeah, nah, man, nah. It was a really funny. I thought it was a really funny movie. I think it's funny. I have an interesting relationship with Kenya Barris's filmography, right? Because I did watch Blackish for like a lot of the first 6 seasons that it was on TV, and I will say that show. I might be using the word cringe a little bit differently than everybody here, but that show did eventually cringe me out. Like that show did eventually get me off board. Like, all right, this is starting to get corny. You know, they don't have to address every civil rights issue at the top of every episode and then make it into some, fun ABC family ending by the end of it. Then I did watch Black AF, which gave me a whole different perspective of who Kenya Barris was, right? Because you see Blackish, you're kind of saying, like it's more of a family friendly portrayal, but nah, this dude is hard R, raunchy, like kind of going all in for it. And that show, Black AF was kind of like whatever, but I thought just the sense of humor played a lot deeper into like what today's sensibility is, where I think like a lot of people talk about we're kind of in a loss of comedy right now. There isn't like any R-rated comedies really coming out in the same way that we saw in like the 2000s, right? Like where we had like Hangover, we had all those Judd Apatow movies, we had not Scream, but the scary movies, comedies that we just don't have anymore. So I think Kenya Barris kind of found like a really perfect way to like slide into that slot of adult humor that's like not that's pretty like down to earth. So I think he did a pretty good job of bringing that to this film. It's like you're right. We've seen that interracial, that like war of races, right? Like Guess Who's Coming Home from Dinner, Guess Who with Bernie Mac, Ashton Kutcher, one of my personal favorites too. But this movie, which you touched on, was spot on. The dichotomy between the Jewish and the Muslims, right? And the Muslim thing, and how the fact that there's certain parts in the movie where Eddie Murphy is wearing a Farrakhan, the Farrakhan crown, you know what I mean? I
love, sorry to cut you off, but he plays it so straight. Like this is the most dialed down Eddie Murphy I've ever seen, and he's really antagonistic, and he's really just messing with this dude, and it's hilarious because he's doing it in the best interest of his daughter, but he got it because he's Jewish too. He got to get his stuff off. You know what I'm saying? So it's
right.
like Nia Long, who I feel like was downplayed all throughout the film. Like there was moments where like she really didn't have much dialogue, nothing really to work with. She just did the like, you know what I'm saying, or like or just kind of was a mother, didn't really do a whole much in the film. Whereas David Duchovny had a lot more. They really played up his cringe factor as a dad. There was a scene with Nia Long and Eddie where it's like, tell him where you got that crown from. Tell him about that meeting with the minister. And it's like he was really messing with him, and that it was hilarious to see that go down the way it did.
Yeah,
and it was just he was very antagonistic, and it was just such a far departure, but yet effective for Eddie. You know what I'm saying? I really. Him and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, two polar opposites as far as performance, but that was like they stole the show every time they was on the screen.
They give a good amount of shots of people from both sides too, right? Because we do see the kind of strung out Black family members, like the Mike Epps, who's playing like his uncle. We see people, but we see the sexually assaulting like Jewish guy in the beginning, the doctor who was like trying to see Jonah Hill's thing. And I'm like, yo, bro, this is crazy, but this is real, bro. This is literally, they give you all sides of LA, which are two, minority, are my pretty big facets of LA culture. Like they show the Fairfax area, the Cantor's Deli, like the Beverly Hills, the Century City for that aspect.
Was like, I'm new to LA and I was just seeing so much of it. I'm like, wow, this is like really a snapshot of LA. So I guess you could say akin to like Spike Lee snapshots of Brooklyn. Like if you watch a Spike Lee film, that's Brooklyn. Like it's like, yo, that's Brooklyn. This is not Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? And I got a lot of the same vibes watching this with LA, down to how the people were talking, what they was wearing. It was like, I know people like this. You know what I'm saying? So that just added another layer onto it that just had me open to accept the film, because I'm like, this is genuine. This is a love letter. You know what I'm saying? This is a love letter.
when Eddie took Jonah Hill to the crib barbershop wearing the red hoodie, that had me on the floor. They even had the scenes of like them playing Nipsey music, which shout out to Lauren London. That was a good homage there too.
Speaking of Lauren London, she was really good in this film. She was. I'm glad to see her. It's been a minute since I've seen her. She's dealt with a lot of traumatic stuff in her life recently. And from what I understand, Kenya Barris said that he had to like beg her to do this film because of, the things she's been dealing with. And she's a little bit more matured. We all remember Lil Nunu in ATL. And she was, man, I was in love with her then. And she's just she's perfect, man. She's so pretty. And it's just so, she didn't mail it in, man. She gave a really good performance and their chemistry was really good. Jonah Hill and Lauren London, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. That kind of surprised me.
I felt like their chemistry was real. I felt like their conflict was real too. Like I feel like I feel like a lot of times when we see rom-coms, like it's invented or it's like kind of contrived comedy or contrived conflict of what's kind of splitting them apart. But I feel like the racial tension is something that could really be at play here, especially when it's like two such opposing like kind of characteristics, kind of ideologies, not even just races, but literally, a Orthodox Jewish family versus a very Orthodox Muslim crew. So it's very. I thought they did it all very well, and I thought, it was very well done.
Yeah, I agree. Especially how after the first dinner, that's when she really started to poke holes in the whole thing. They in bed, and she's starting to get offended about certain things. He said, your dad heard Fight the Power and became a Muslim. She's like, don't joke on my dad like that. It's like, we joke about it. We joke about that all the time. So it's like, you could tell that dinner really affected her by the time they got to bed. All these little nuances, I loved it. It was so genuine. It was real. It was genuine. It was real. And, I see a lot of people saying, oh, that Jonah Hill with a Lauren London, that would never happen. And I'm sorry. I've been in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. I've been up and down in LA. You see a lot of a lot of these couples. So please, it was real, and I liked it, man. I really liked the film.
Yeah, and I just want to shout out a lot of the rest of the cast who showed out and had some funny lines too. Lala Anthony was funny. Deon Cole, Andrew Schwartz. Young Miami was one of her friends.
That was a random cameo. I was like, oh shoot, that's Carisha.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she hanging out with P. Diddy and just took a second. And we said Nia Long, Louis-Dreyfus. Also his podcast partner, who's played by J. Sam Mo, she was also hilarious too. That whole dialogue in the very beginning when they're like, "Oh, Newport's are crackheads' favorite cigarettes," talking about Obama, everything. A lot of dialogue. They really did a good job of making the comedy aspect work, because there's a lot of times when rom-coms are too romantic or just get too caught up in that. But it was almost like I was rewatching this movie right before we got on this review. Literally almost every single line is like a punchline or a joke. So I applaud them for at least going for it on that respect. And they knew when to pull it back and knew when to get more sensitive with it. But I thought it was really well done overall.
Absolutely. And the moments of conflict with the parents, that was a scene that I got nervous when they had the wedding rehearsal. Got a little nervous because I seen, there's a scene in the film, Eddie sees what he sees at the bachelor party, and he finds a way to call out Jonah Hill's character while not really calling him out. He calls him out while not really exposing him. And, Jonah Hill approaches him, and I'm just like, oh man, here we go. They're gonna make the brother look like an asshole, and then they're gonna play it kind with the mom. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, this is the asshole moment. He's the villain of the film. But then they follow that immediately with Lauren London going up to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It's like, yo, I'm not your toy. And they just hit on all the points. It's just like, yes, like it was just such a good. At that point, it was like, all right, this movie gets it. You know what I'm saying? There's no clear villain, and we often see that in these films, like, again, like I told you, these little tropes that they have where, they put things in these scripts to make us feel a way, make us hate these characters, you know what I'm saying? And there was no real villain here. It was all, everybody had their rough moments, you know what I'm saying? But at the end, I feel like they wrapped it all up nicely at the end, as far as like, I guess requiem, is that the right word for the characters?
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
I mean,
or
I don't know
you know
that
what I'm
word,
saying? Like,
but you know, you teach me something if that is, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the word. Excuse me, my bad. I got a lot of thoughts in my head right now, but at the end, you know, we realize the characters are all right. You know, they're good people. They mean well. It's just we all have, and that's another thing. We all got our natural prejudices, bro. We all looked at somebody and talked about somebody that we didn't really know a certain way. We have predisposed, you know, we have thoughts of these people that we don't know. So it was relatable. This is all like, you know, it's such a grounded film. You know, it wasn't outrageous. It didn't do too much. It was very grounded. Watch it. If you got a significant other that's of the other race, watch it with them too. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might laugh at some of the nutty stuff that's going on, like, you know, because, you know, I always say about black folks in particular, and I have a kind of a dark humor, but I always say black folks in particular, our humor is skewered a certain way because we got to laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah, that's real.
The fact that we could laugh at these, you know, awkward moments and stuff like that, I think this is what the world needs, man. World needs more movies like this.
Yeah, man. Definitely more movies that are funny, but also that address some real life social commentaries and does it directly too, and doesn't like shy away from it. So, more movies shot in LA too, man. Come to the hood, come to Cringe shot more often. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's all I got for First Cut. That's all I got for this review here on First Cut. Make sure you follow us. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already, and make sure you follow us on First Cut TMO on social medias. You can follow me at Director RB3. John, where can people follow you and your page?
You can follow me at Mr. Marin Knows, MRMARIN Knows, and so excuse me, KNOWS, and then I have my film page, Real Talk Film Society, Real REEL Talk Film Society. You can find me on there. Hit me up. I posted a Mike Epps audition tape for next Friday that's doing crazy numbers. So yo, go check it out. You're gonna get some gems. I'm gonna drop gems on there. We hit up the comments. Let's talk. We can talk film, do all of that in there. So definitely check it out.
Bet for sure, man. And yeah, make sure y'all give us a like and let us know in the comments what your thoughts on your people. For RB3 for RB3 for First Cut. Peace out, y'all. Peace.
Remain, it's either me or you.